Hello everyone, as promised, a deck from Sydney World Championships, August 2002. Yes, the deck is called Psychatog, and most of you guys that played back in the day will remember this card. It is played by Carlos Rommel, and yeah, let's take a look over here. He was a World Championship, not the person wasn't the championship. He was a world champion. Carlos Rommel played the same style of deck that many people at this year's World Championship chose to play. Blue-Black Psychatog. He simply played his version better than everyone else played theirs. Rommel, known as Jabba to his friends, was a perfect 6-0 during the Swiss portion of the tournament, posting a stunning 12-0 game record. This 20-year-old native of Sao Paulo, Brazil, has been widely regarded as one of the best players in South America. His deck tried to stay alive long enough to play Upheaval, while floating mana to replay Psychatog on the same turn. Yes, this is quite a crazy deck. It was, as the cards said, played a lot back then. I remember playing some tournaments, some small tournaments. Some guys played Psychatog. A friend of mine even played Psychatog in friendly games. Nah, that's not so friendly. Alright, yeah. Let's just take a look, shall we? So, half of this deck isn't sleeved. Never bothered to do so. Nightscape Familiar. 2 mana, 1-1. Is quite a common card back in the day to include in your deck. There were 5 different familiars. This is the black one. Blue spells and red spells you play cost 1 less to play, and for 2 you can regenerate it. It's a 1-1. You have 4 in this deck. Now the star of the deck, Psychatog. It is 3 mana, 1 colorless, blue and black, a 1-2. If you discard a card from your hand, Psychatog gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then remove 2 cards in your graveyard from the game and it gets +1/+1 as well. Now then, we shall see shortly what the strategy is behind this card. Obviously, it is just discarding and removing cards to make it stronger. Chainer's Edict. 2 mana. Target player sacrifices a creature. It is a sorcery. And it has flashback 7. So you can play it for 7 from your graveyard at flashback cost. Then remove it from the game. This is an excellent card to hose the opponent's army. 3 copies of those. Circular Logic. 3 mana instant, counter target spell unless its controller pay 1 for each card in your graveyard. Madness 1. So if you were to discard it from your hand for some reason, you can pay blue. Excellent combination with Psychatog. Right, next up we have Counterspell. The card is really speaking for itself. 2 mana counter target spell. Who wouldn't play it? You'd be crazy if you would. Right, we have Cunning Wish, an instant for 3 mana. Choose an instant card you own from outside the game, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. Remove Cunning Wish from the game. He wished for knowledge, but not the will to apply it. Yeah, there was a cycle of wishes in Judgment, all of them depicting the Jinn, Urnam Jinn, and all of them had the line, choose, blah blah blah, from outside the game that you own. Now there were many discussions online back in the day when this set was just revealed about how to interpret it. Can you just pick a card from your binder, or did it have to be the sideboard? Could you just buy a booster, open it, then play the card? Wizards came with the solution that as long as it's a sanctioned play, you can only pick cards from your sideboard, which is still a huge thing, because then you can just basically adjust your deck while playing the first round. In friendly games we still use the binder, which was very fun to do so. Then, yeah, we have 3 of those. Then we have Deep Analysis. It's a sorcery card for 4 mana. Target player draws 2 cards. And Flashback for 2 and pay 3 life. So, yeah, card draw. 3 of those. Factor Fiction. One of my favorite cards from Invasion. It is 4 mana, it's an instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 face-up piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Now, the piles don't have to be all equal. Like there are 5 cards, you don't have to make 1 pile 2 and 1 pile 3. You can make a pile 1 or 4. This makes for excellent choosing. And your opponent can just makes you discard 4 cards. Memory Lapse, 2 mana, instant, counter target spell. Put it on top of its owner's library instead of into that player's graveyard. Yeah, so just throw it back on top. Make your opponent draw a card that he probably doesn't want next turn. 3 of those. Repulse. 3 mana instant, return target creature to its owner's hand and draw a card. Yeah, basically a boomerang with an upgrade. Now, Upheaval, the card that triggers everything for this deck. Upheaval, sorcery for 6 mana, return all permanents to their owner's hands. So, first of all, tap every land that you have. Make as much mana as you can. Then play Upheaval. Return everything to its owner's hand. Play a Psychatog. And just wait out the turn. That's what I think. Then the next turn, your opponent probably cannot do anything about it in the very first... In that one turn that he has. Unless he shocks it, but then you can just discard something from all the cards that you returned and make him better. Then the next turn you just strike with everything you have, discard everything you have, remove everything from the graveyard that you just discarded and kill your opponent instantly. Alright, we have Kefalit Colosseum. It's a land. If you tap it, you get blue, but it deals 1 damage to you. And it has Threshold, so it means the ability becomes available when you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, which shouldn't be a problem. Then against the ability for 1 blue and tap, you can sacrifice it and target player draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards. Nice card. Only 2. Dark Water Catacombs. Yeah, this land just provides blue and black for 1. Islands. A lot of islands over here. Ooh, is that? What do we have over here? Well, let's just find out who that is. Salt Marsh. 4 times. And it comes into play tapped. And if you tap it, you gain black or blue. These days are reprints of this card, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, functional reprints. 3 swamps and Underground River, which we have. Oh, Mr. Cage, we meet again. Look at him, staring into your soul. Well, alright. Underground River. The Painland, as you call it, from Ice Age. You can either tap it for a colorless or for blue or black. Or one of the other allied colors if you have those versions. And it deals 1 damage. That's why it's called Painland. You pay the price to pay mana. Oh god. Oh dear gods. Go away, you. Right, that's the deck. Now let's look at the sideboard. Right, first of all we have Duress. It is 1 black. It is a sorcery. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. Choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. We have 4 copies of that. That's an excellent way to start the game. Just throw out whatever you don't need. Another Fact or Fiction. We have Gainsay. It's for 2 mana, counter target blue spell, if you need more counters. Then we have Ghastly Demise. 3 copies. It is 1 black. It's an instant. Destroy target non-black creature if its toughness is less than or equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. Yeah, you probably play this at the beginning to get rid of your opponent's cards before all hell breaks loose. Hibernation, 3 mana instant, return all green permanents to their owner's hands. Back in the day, green was a thing with Madness. We had the Wild Mongrel and Basking Rootwalla. Those cards were just crazy. Really, if you didn't watch out, they just become bigger and bigger. And there were some manlands back in the day. I believe Odyssey had a couple. Yeah, very good card. Mana Short. It is 3 mana instant. Tap all lands target player controls and empty his or her mana pool. Yeah, this was before the ruling on Mana Burn. Mana Burn was introduced. Mana Burn was an old rule. If you tap a land and don't use the mana, or if you have any mana in your mana pool and do not use it, you'll get 1 damage for each mana in the mana pool. Mana Short just forced your opponent to either use it or just lose it all. These days it can still be useful to just enforce your opponent, but yeah, if he has stuff he likes to play, he will play it. Mana Burn, that's a long time ago. Very long time ago. Teferi's Response, 2 mana instant, counter target spell or ability an opponent controls that targets a land you control. If a permanent's ability is countered this way, destroy that permanent. Draw 2 cards. There were some enchantments that targeted the lands, or just, of course, Stone Rain. Stone Rain just basically destroys a land, so yeah, you can counter it. And you can draw 2 cards for 2. Cool. Slay, with the helpless elf just standing there, trying to make a stand against the Phyrexians. Oh, he won't survive. 3 mana, instant, destroy target green creature, it can't be regenerated, and draw a card. Recoil, 3 mana, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, it's an instant, return target permanents to its owner's hand, then that player discards a card from his or her hand. And we have Coffin Purge. Coffin Purge is 1 black, it's an instant, and remove target card in a graveyard from the game, and it is flashback 1. So you can do it again. So it's mainly against flashback decks. So, there you have it. Carlos Romau's Psychatog deck. It is a fun deck to play. I never really played it that much, but it requires some calculation. You need to calculate the amount of mana you will have and how many cards you will get rid of, etc., etc. But yeah, it is a very, very cool deck to play. Right, thank you guys for watching. See you all next week. I don't know what I'll be doing then, but yeah, we'll just see. Right, bye.